Hi, guys.
Hi, how are
Hi.
you?
Good. How awesome is this technology that I figured out all by myself, which is
It's
kind of
actually
a,
pretty remarkable. The first time I had to do this, I think I was a good 20 minutes late into the queue.
Oh yeah, I've had to restart many times.
you guys, thanks for having me on. Look at Ryan Pinkston. Hi, Ryan.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me on. This is
Thanks
so
for
nice, and I'm such a huge fan of what you guys do and that you started this charity. How long ago did you start it?
Oh, thanks. Yeah, we started it in 2012 was our first event.
Yep.
And then we kind of became our own organization about 2 years ago. We like grew up and became, you know.
Yeah.
It's
Uh,
so cool.
yeah, we had a Netflix show that year, but it's been a long road. I'm supposed to do some sort of introduction, I think, to the people who are watching, just to say hello and thank you.
Like, yes.
I'm Seth, Lauren.
Hello?
We're from HFC. We, have a charity where we give funding for research as far as trying to cure Alzheimer's goes, and we give out grants to people who can't afford to care or have people care for their loved ones. In-home care is very expensive, and caregiving is very taxing. And that is one of the things that we were going to talk to Sean about, because he found himself in a position where he was a caregiver, as many people, Lauren and her father, have found themselves in the exact same position. So, how was that?
That was really
Pretty
impressive. I told
That
Seth
was
good.
really good.
Like
I
you
mean,
got.
I think the biggest hurdle I had was taking care of you, Seth, just in general. I don't think people know
Exactly.
that.
this whole thing is about taking care of Seth,
Exactly.
really.
When
Yeah,
there's one set of footsteps, it's because you're carrying me.
right. Just like Jesus.
Exactly. But all jokes aside, I mean, maybe we could, just hear a little bit about
Yeah.
kind of your journey and why you're
Yeah,
talking to us here today. Yeah.
for sure. Yeah. So my mom was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, I don't know, maybe like 15-ish years ago, maybe 16 years ago. She died a couple of years ago, but she had a long, 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 long haul with it. And it was, as you know, it's difficult to watch somebody go through that. And, I realized watching her, you grieve twice. You
Yeah.
grieve for the loss of who that person was, and then you grieve for, her spirit, and then you grieve for the actual physical loss of them finally leaving this earth. And
Yeah.
so once you accept the loss of the spirit of that person, not entirely, of course, they're still there, they're still your mom or dad or whoever, uh, but there is something different, and it's a very difficult thing to get through. So
Yeah.
I come from a very large Irish Catholic family, and we each kind of did our best at any given point to jump in and do our own versions of caregiving and caretaking of my mom. And everybody thinks in a loving way that they could do it the best and that they
Mm.
know how to do it better than the next person.
I don't know what
So
you're talking
Yeah,
about.
exactly. No
yes,
conflict.
yeah, so yeah, exactly. So
No.
when it was yeah, so when it was my turn, I swooped in along with Scotty, my husband Scotty, and I was like, we can do this. And we brought her back to Los Angeles from Chicago, and after, it's like getting a new puppy, and my mom would laugh at that. Um, it's like getting a new puppy where it's like, oh crap, like every single day is consumed with, or a baby, with,
Yeah.
meals, and how do I fill the space, and, activities for her, and doctor's appointments, and also while working. And so it very quickly you realize, oh, I'm in over my head. Like this is, and after about 3 months of that, I was like, I can't work. I can't do anything. And now, you try to give her some semblance of life, but it's not great. And now it's not great for the caregiver. And so now two lives are not doing so great in the moment. And I know she wouldn't want that. And so you seek other caregiving. So we went through, sorry, this is a long story, but we went through a bunch of different caretakers through certain businesses to try to come in who supply that service. And my mom was, pretty stubborn. And so the whole process was extremely taxing and difficult until we found the right home for her out here. And then ultimately we moved her back to her hometown. But that was
Well,
the journey. And so the thing that I support and realized too late was there are millions of people going through this, as you well know. And I partnered with a company a while ago called Embracing Carers. Um, uh, and you can find out more information at embracingcarers.com. But their initiative is to raise awareness and the discussion for caregivers who are seeking help. And the one thing anybody can do to help someone that they know are caregivers is just to ask.
yeah.
Ask for if they need help. Ask if they need to go me to go to the grocery store, or you to go to the grocery store, or driving for errands, or cleaning, or anything that that person needs is so just like even 5 minutes of
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
break is
Yeah.
enormous. And
Yeah.
so that's what I advocate for. And when I read about you guys and all that you're doing, I just thought, wow, like minds. So I applaud you for not only starting your charity, but following through and keeping us aware of you guys and the things that you provide with it.
Thank you. Yeah, I think that, I mean, just watching Lauren's father, you could see that, like, for him to ask for help would have been very difficult. But anytime someone asked if
Yeah,
he needed help, it
Mhm.
was very welcome. And,
Yeah.
yeah,
um, and he's actively resentful towards the people who never did. So that's also
yeah.
a to keep in mind, where if you know someone's
Sure.
going through this and you don't want them to hate you, ask
Right.
for help, because they will hold it against you for a very
Yeah,
long time.
that is true. And my mom was similar. My mom, had she known that people were helping her, she would have freaked out. I mean, she was so proud that she raised
Yeah.
5 kids all on her own. She's like, I don't need help ever. But
Yeah.
but it's also that weird switch too, where the son or daughter becomes the parent, where you
Right.
become the parent, and that's one of the biggest things to accept. And the
It's,
sooner you can accept that, the sooner you can get on the path
how
of
did
calling the shots.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, we always talk about, like, I feel like Seth was my caregiver, I was my dad's caregiver. Like, how did you take care of yourself? What were the things that you did during those times where, like, you don't have time to take care of yourself? You need help in other ways. What were the ways that you
Yeah,
got through?
it does help a lot to have a Lauren or a Seth to that great partnership, right? And so I have Scotty who's sitting over there is working on something right now. I have Scotty, so he not only helped me through my mom's ordeal, he helps me through every day of my own life. He's laughing right now. Functioning, yeah, just functioning. But so yes, I like you are very fortunate to have a partner in life that is there for you. And yeah, and but also I come from a large family, so like I said, we all had our intervals of
Yeah,
helping out mom. So it was never one person's task all the time through the entire thing.
right, right. And did you do things to look after your mental health during that time, your physical health? I think that caregivers have so little time
Yeah,
to,
Yeah.
time is everything. I didn't really. I kind of spun. To be honest, I spun out of control. I was like, I was split in 1,000 ways, and sure, Scotty was there, but Scotty didn't have the relationship I have with my own mother. So, I had to do certain things. And just a quick story because I do think comedy is needed,
oh,
Yeah.
totally.
and Alzheimer's is tragic as it is, and we are children of Alzheimer's. But to survive through it, you have to find some levity, otherwise you'll go crazy. And so, just one of the funny things that my mom did was anytime she went to the bathroom and she did a big girl sit down and went number two, she wouldn't flush the toilet. And so I'd go in there and I go, Mom, what are you doing? You got to flush the toilet. And she was adamant. She goes, I don't know who did that. I do, I do not know. People come in here and they do that and they leave it. I had nothing to do with it. I have no idea who that is. And that made me laugh so hard. And then I would do the laughing game with my mom all the time. I would just start going, ha, ha, ha. And then she would start going, ha, ha. And then I'd start raising up, ha, ha, ha. And I'd start laughing so hard. And she would be laughing so hard and not knowing why. But it
That's
was, It was a blast.
That's amazing. Yeah, we actually have a program where we partner with an organization called Laughter on Call that teaches improv to caregivers, which is exactly what you're just saying. And
Yeah.
we're doing online seminars right now, actually, obviously, because we can't be face to face. But it's all about those like in the moment, like you can't plan, you just have to yes and
Yeah.
pull someone
You
sometimes
riff, yeah.
out of a moment and into another moment.
Yeah,
And
yeah. You
uh,
always yes, and especially when we took the car away. You know,
Yeah.
oh,
that was really rough. That was really, really rough. But she's like, I just think it broke down. And we're like, yeah, I think it really did. Yeah. And then she was up in her room and we got it taken away.
mm,
And she just came down and was like, Mom, it just completely broke. She's like, okay.
Oh,
right. Yeah.
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 Yeah. Good
Yeah.
book, right?
Yes.
I love that
I
term.
saw a question earlier about music therapy.
Yeah.
Oh.
Did your dad enjoy music or did you find a way into his mind with music?
Um, my mom,
I'm sorry, your mom.
no, it's okay. You know, music was never early on, yes. If she was like, early on, she would get in these moments where she was really like agitated,
Yeah.
really, you couldn't distract her, but you could distract her with a movie that she really liked
Yeah.
or a song that she really liked. Eventually, no, it was never for her, unfortunately, the
Yeah.
type that could like pull her back.
Right.
Um, but I think that it's something that's so personal for people, and so
Yeah.
if you have a connection with anything, bringing those type of things up can sort of bring about a feeling of connection in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you ever have dreams where she came out of it and was completely
Oh,
normal
oh yeah, of course. Oh,
all the time?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No, and that's the weirdest thing is, you have these moments where like, oh, she's right there. It's fine. It's totally, she's right there. And then no,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah,
And
one of the hardest things is to accept it.
hmm
It's just like, because you, like any tragedy, you're like, no, this can't be happening. This can't
right.
be happening. This is something I read about, right? Something happens to somebody else. And then you're forced to learn everything about it and accept it and do
Do
the
you,
best you can.
do you feel like you were able to accept it at any point? And
Yeah, well, eventually you have to, but I kind of I kind of do that quickly. Like I accept things very fast. Like I adapt very quickly.
yeah,
I try to, stuff emotion. Like I always say, like this pandemic, they have social distancing. I say, I'm going to do wonders when there's a virus that forces us to be emotionally distant
yeah,
I would kill
because I've been suffering from it for
training
years.
for that my whole life. I haven't related to anyone since 2008, I think.
Yeah, exactly. But no, so I do. I accept things pretty quick. So for my mom,
yeah.
I got on board pretty quick. It was hard, but I got to it fast.
Yeah, yeah. I did not. I really struggled for quite some time. And I think for us, it was really like when I started talking about it and connecting with people about it. Because I was like in this boat where I was like, I'm so alone. No one
Yeah,
else that I'm dealing with. And like, obviously that's not true. And so I think once I could accept that, like, I could like start to be like, okay, we're in this together.
Yeah,
What can we
it
do?
was one of
right.
those things, like where, as someone who was talking about it a lot publicly, like I was amazed at how many people were being affected by it and that just weren't getting spoken to in any capacity, and that
Right.
like a shock, as far as how prevalent that became as a thing that people came up to me on the street and talked about. Was just like, no one's talking about it, and I'm in my 20s dealing with my mother who has Alzheimer's, and like I never even knew that was a thing until I started seeing
Yeah. I
pop up.
remember seeing you on TV talking about it, and I was just like, I was so impressed and in awe of your courage and your bravery to just kind of get out there and use your face and your voice. It was inspiring to me. It helped me. So thank you.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, I just want to remind people, if you have questions, put them in the comments. There's a new
we are
thing.
looking at
Hold on,
them.
but do you see this? There's a new thing. If we hit this, these are questions, I think.
Oh, are you going to do
Oh,
it?
So
Sure.
hold on,
What
we're
are your
going to look
favorite
at these
munchies?
questions real quick.
What is the charity? The charity's HFC for Alzheimer's Research and Care. Um,
Oh, someone wanted to explain yes and.
for
Um,
improv.
which,
oh,
well, grandpa, but for caregivers, well, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
But for caregivers,
It's
it's so
agreeing.
important. It is.
It's not creating conflict when you are going along with someone's story, I guess,
Which
right?
is important in
Yeah.
caregiving. Yeah.
Yeah, I think some people's instinct is to try to correct people or try to knock them back into reality in some way that is just not going to happen. And yeah, I think going with the flow has seemed to be a lot easier.
It's actually healthier for your own, as the caregivers, for your own mental state to surrender to the yes and so for example, my mom was like, I think somebody didn't flush the toilet, somebody came here, and you just go, yeah, I know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
crazy.
I
Yeah,
saw
there,
I got
it's
like they
You
ran
gotta get
in.
them.
I'm on
Someone's
it.
asking.
I'm all over it.
Yeah, someone's asking about the transition to home care or a facility.
Did your mom? Did you say she ended up in a care center?
Yeah, that was extremely, extremely difficult because she was very defiant. And
Mm,
so and so, we went from one place to the other to have her check it out, and then that's what I'm talking about when the child becomes the parent, is like at the beginning I was just acquiescing to whatever she wanted, and just like I was her son, right? And so I was like, sure, mom's mom, and we want to make her happy. But then you do have to put your foot down and say, no, this is what's happening. This is how this goes down. And and then, I think that shift, that very first time you shift, then you kind of grow up a lot, and you go, oh, I see my responsibility now as a son to my own mother. And so, yeah, we
well,
put her we had to trick her and say we're going to a restaurant, and it was the cafeteria section of this home, and she was like, oh, the food here is great.
yeah.
Perfect.
There you go.
um,
Yeah.
People are asking about risk of dementia in the future to people who have it in their family, and I think that's something we've specifically learned a lot about. That has actually been very encouraging over the
Yeah.
last few years.
So it's the area where I feel like there is hope in this disease. And for us at HFC, that's a huge part of where we, do our research is in brain health and the steps that we can be taking to take care of our brains today. Have you done any sort of, digging into your own brain and how you take care of your brain?
Yeah,
What
for sure.
with that?
Our mutual friend Maria Shriver is also a huge advocate as
Yeah,
well, and
sentence
we.
to get to say in
It's
general.
really, I mean, I love
What's
it.
that?
I said it's a great sentence to get to say.
Oh yeah, yeah. She's the best. We love her. She's like my sister, mother, friend, everything
Yeah.
to me and Scotty. And so anyway, I've learned a lot from her, and in doing so, she inspired me to go research my own health and my own risk. And I think APO4, is that the gene?
Hmm.
Uh-huh.
And so,
Different sort of variations of it.
yeah. And so before my mom passed away, I legally got a doctor to get a blood sample,
Hmm.
and she did actually have that gene.
Hmm.
And when I got it done and I had some blood drawn, the doctor called me and he said, are you sure you want to know? And
Hmm.
I said, yeah, I want to know. And he
Yeah.
said, I do not have it. Now,
Hmm.
that doesn't necessarily mean you can't get dementia or Alzheimer's, but your
Right.
chances lower a little bit. But but it is all diet. A lot of it is diet, as you know. And so I do try to eat on the healthier side. It's difficult, but
Yeah.
but I try. I think about it when I can, and I exercise. Exercise is a lot of it,
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
But do you have any information on, you hear rumblings about a vaccine not only for coronavirus but for Alzheimer's and dementia. And I just don't, they're like, we're 5 years away, and it's like they're 5 years
Although
away on
we
everything.
Yeah, the people that are in our lives in regards to this do not have that approach, and it's much more personalized medicine, which seems like where the whole world is probably going anyway. And in general, what you're saying, it's the most annoying thing. Obviously, a vaccine would be great, and not having to eat healthy and exercise every single day of your life
Yeah.
it would be a much more enjoyable way to not get degenerative illnesses. But unfortunately, that's not how it is. So, yeah, I get and there's a lot more money in vaccines, and a lot less money in just telling people to
Yeah.
eat less sugar and
Right.
exercise a lot.
Right. And sugar's a
So
big thing, right?
yeah, so I think that's why there is a little conflict we found kind of in the Alzheimer's community, I guess, between what the best path is and our it just seems like the people we know seem to think that, and it makes more sense. It's just like overall lifestyle change is probably the best bet, and if a vaccine comes along, great, we can start eating donuts every day again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The doctors that we trust
Yep.
say that the most hope lies in brain health and taking care of your brain
Yeah.
today.
And which
Yeah.
is a fascinating thing, and it's something I always sound like a broken record, but brain health is just something no one talks about. And like
Yeah.
So
person,
weird.
they know so much about heart health. You know, if you eat fried food every day, you'll have a heart attack. They know if you smoke cigarettes for years, you could get lung cancer. No one knows what to do to keep their brain healthy. Like the
Right.
person is given very little information about that, which is so strange because your brain, you really need your brain. You know,
Yeah.
they do
Turns
heart
out.
transplants. I don't know how many brain transplants they've done. They do lung transplants. They don't do brain transplants. So like, I think that is what's so interesting. And it's clearly because brain health is so stigmatized, especially in America.
Yeah.
People just don't like talking about it. Mental
I
illness,
know.
like, it just bums people out, which has been something that we've really just seen a lot of over the
Yeah.
years, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I know. It's if this pandemic has taught us anything, it's that people get bummed out when they can't live their lives.
Yeah,
And it's
exactly.
like, it's that's also kind of incredible too about the government, the current administration is, well, any administration during this pandemic is like I was blown away to see them pulling all their resources and money and politics and everything to come up with an answer, a cure, a vaccine, treatment, or whatever it is for the coronavirus. So it's like, gosh, imagine if we could do that for Alzheimer's or anything,
I know.
anything.
I know.
And it was like, well, gosh, if you could do that for that, wow, I wonder if we could do it for a lot more things. But
And which brings us back to exactly why it's so important to have conversations like this, which is to tell your story. Because the more we tell our stories, the more people understand that there is such a great need to do that. To
yeah, for sure.
we can for a cure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see if there's any more pressing questions that we can answer before we hop off. What do you think for your mental health? We talked about that. New things HFC discovered through research. We discovered definitively that people listen to celebrities when it comes to learning about brain health.
Yeah.
We have
That they do or they don't?
They do.
We have brain
Oh,
health
yeah.
coursework along with Richard Isaacson at the Weill Cornell Brain Clinic, and
Richard
Seth
Isaacson, that's where I learned all my stuff. That's who did the APO4 gene. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Yes, and so we created classwork, and Seth teaches some of it, and Richard teaches some of it, and Seth's is more successful.
Yeah, they definitively proved
They
that
learn more from Seth.
that a comedian is more able to convey relevant brain information than one of the foremost brain doctors on the planet. So thank God.
Imagine. Yeah, that's great.
Place for us in the new world.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, look, if any way we can get the information out, right?
Exactly. We'll take it.
Oh, man. Well, thank you so much
thank
for
you so much
joining
for talking to us.
Of course, you guys, anytime, and anything you want me to do for HFC or anything, I'm all for it. I'm here. I'm available. I'm yours. Please utilize me anytime, anywhere.
Really appreciate it.
Much.
Thank
we
you
really
so much.
appreciate it. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, guys.
Joining
Love
us.
you guys. Take care.
Bye.